Hey guys, it's Caleb, and welcome back to the Pink Side. So, today I'm going to talk about a very serious subject that I don't think anybody in the domestic discipline community has addressed, at least not in any sort of depth. And that's the idea that technology and surveillance in the sort of big brother state that we're headed towards and that we're pretty much already halfway into could actually destroy the domestic discipline community. What do I mean by that? Well, here's what I mean by that. Domestic discipline is illegal for all intents and purposes. It's not illegal on its face, but let's say you and your wife practice domestic discipline, right? And let's say your wife goes to a doctor after like a spanking because she has to get blood pressure meds or she has to get some kind of a health checkup or whatever. Doctor reports the marks on her behind to the police. Police report it to the DA. The wife says, "Hey, this is consensual. Me and my husband, we do this for fun, or we practice this as a lifestyle, or whatever." The system has become so draconian that the DA can press charges anyway, and we all know this part. We all know that part of it, right? But technology is making things even worse. Cameras everywhere, voice technology, voice recognition technology everywhere, facial recognition technology everywhere. We're kind of starting to live in the Orwellian state that Orwell talked about in 1984. So theoretically, in 10 years or even 5 years, someone like myself who runs a domestic discipline community under my fake name — Caleb is not my real name, just in case you didn't know — I could be targeted by law enforcement for practicing domestic discipline. Now, law enforcement won't arrest me. They won't show up at my house for practicing domestic discipline or even for promoting it. But what they'll do is they'll put me on their radar, figure out where I live, figure out what car I drive, all this and that, and look for some other reason to charge me with something. Then law enforcement might find my followers and give their information to the local cops in their city, and have the local cops start watching them until they can figure out something to charge them with. It might have nothing to do with domestic discipline. It's just something they're making up to charge you with something maybe unrelated to domestic discipline, but because you practice domestic discipline, you got on their radar, so they kind of want to get rid of you. You see what I'm saying? This is a very strong possibility in the future, and it's a very strong possibility in the near future, especially now with AI coming out and doing what it does. I think AI should be completely banned. I think we should figure out a way to destroy AI in every country, in every nation. It's just too dangerous. It's going to be used to control everybody, not just the domestic discipline community. Picture this too, because things are getting to this point with like Alexa and stuff like that. Your wife breaks a rule, or she breaks up several rules, and you and her agree that she's going to be spanked, right? So you start spanking your wife, and little sensors in your house send messages to your local police department that somebody in your house is in danger because they sense the spanking that you're giving your wife. Alexa is interpreting it as abuse or danger or whatever. Now you've got the pigs at your door, and they're going to take you away. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that the domestic discipline community can thrive. This is, in some ways, this is the best time in history to be a domestic discipline uh, practitioner because it's more accepted than it ever has been. Things, if you told somebody 10 years ago that you practice domestic discipline or that you're into it, almost everybody would recoil and have an almost visceral reaction to you, right? Now, things have gotten to the point, domestic discipline has entered the lexicon to the point where there's a whole lot of people who don't care. You know what I'm saying? If somebody finds out you practice DD, a lot of them are going to be like, there's still a lot of people who are going to be enraged by it. But there's also going to be a lot of people who are like, I don't care, that's you. Go ahead and do what you do. So domestic discipline is making inroads. Now, of course, the threat to our freedom that comes with this technology that we're stepping into goes way beyond domestic discipline. I mean, make no mistake about it, people on both sides of the aisle seek to control every aspect of our lives. So we're up against a threat here where, your every step is going to be watched, controlled. I mean, it's just crazy what's happening in the direction we're going in society. And unfortunately, I think America is the main catalyst that's helping push society to this point. The freedom to practice the lifestyle you choose without government or corporate interference. And I say corporate because you can lose your job for practicing domestic discipline, just like you can lose your job for a whole lot of other things that should be none of your employer's business. The freedom to live as you choose, to speak as you choose without government or corporate interference is what the Constitution was founded upon. It's why the Revolutionary War was fought. But we're losing that. We now have more laws than we ever did under the Redcoats. The police, being the scumbags they are, enforce way more laws and arrest people for way more things than the Redcoats ever even thought about. We had more freedom under the British Crown, by far, than we do today. And I'm going off on a tangent, I guess, that I didn't really intend to go on, but it's just something to be aware of if you practice domestic discipline, and it's something to be aware of even beyond the DD aspect of your life, just being an American and wanting to live in freedom. You see these ICE agents and these military soldiers pushing and arresting and beating up protesters in Portland and Seattle and stuff. And the conservatives, being the absolute clown shows they are cheering this on. And it's like, yeah, Antifa sucks. I understand why you don't like Antifa, but here's the thing. These soldiers that are out here doing this, these things that these actions that these soldiers are taking against these Antifa protesters, they're going to be taken against you. What do you think's going to happen when some Democrat gets into office and you want to organize some strong protest against them, something they're doing? That Democrat's going to use those same soldiers against you because that precedent is being set right now. So remember, when you're cheering these military troops, shoving people into the street and this and that, just because those people and those protesters happen to be leftists, that's going to happen to your side 3 or 4 years from now when some Democrat gets into office and you want to protest whatever freedom the Democrat is trying to steal from you. But that's my main point. the surveillance state is something that could potentially blow up and destroy the domestic discipline community in ways that nothing else that ever came before it could. I don't know what to do about this. I mean, we can't lobby Congress to make domestic discipline like a right or a law. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to work. There would be a big public revolt against that. So I don't know what to really do about it. I'm just afraid that it might be coming. That's all for today.